We're talking just a few days after the riots in London and in other parts of the country, and it's a time when a lot of people are very angry. They're perhaps not terribly sympathetic towards issues that might be to do with offenders. It's very common, isn't it, to hear commentators talking about why should we be spending money on offenders when they've done something wrong, when there's plenty of other people in society that are having just as a difficult a time. What's your response to people taking that sort of view as to why we really should be putting effort into working with offenders?
My response to that is I don't condone looting. I don't condone violence. Those people that are a danger to members of the public and society should be locked away, but prisons should not be used as a dumping ground for people in society that are disadvantaged. Okay, there's a difference between dangerous people, which prison was designed for. I was banged up for 13 years and I deserved every day of it because I committed armed robbery, serious offences. But there are people in there that we could work with in the community. And what I would say to people is this, who say that to me: I understand your anger, and rightly so. But what brought these people to do it? There was two types of people in those rioting crowds. Those that were organised criminals who went out with bolt croppers on a thieving spree, and there was those who are disillusioned, who got caught up in the party atmosphere of getting something for nothing. They're not criminals, so you deal with them totally different to the one that goes out with the bolt croppers who's targeted a shop because he's got a fence he's going to sell that gear to. That's the two different types of rioters you've got. Secondly, I would look at it and say to society, okay, there is no one on this planet who hasn't done something that they regretted the next day. And there are people that get drunk or they're high on drugs and they get caught up in it. The next day they think, I wish I hadn't have done that. But when a person gets, them people who've committed those offences have now got a criminal record. That criminal record doesn't end when they come out of court. That is going to bar them from employment, and all the exclusions that I've talked about earlier, that will be their punishment in society. So what we've got to do, instead of saying, okay, we're going to exclude you from society and we're going to take away your home, we're going to stop your benefit and all that. Well, if you do that, then basically what you're saying is you've got to go out thieving to keep a roof over your head, total madness. So what you've got to say to them is, okay, you've done wrong. You're going to pay back now as a way of an apology. I'm a strong believer in restorative justice. Get them hit them where it hurts most, in the pocket, and get them where it hurts most, put them in employment. Train them for work so they're productive members of society. Now, the reason you've got this happen, and you ain't got to be a rocket scientist to look at that, right? You've got young people unemployed, nothing to do, nowhere to go, on the streets, no hope of education because it's cost too much, no clubs they can go to like I did in my days. I used to go to my boxing club, that took my aggression out. They're on the streets and they've got nothing to do. All of a sudden, you get a group of people that are criminally orientated that says, right, well, we're going out of a fever. And the guy thinks, well, I'd really like a pair of trainers. Mum's up to debt with credit cards. Homes are being repossessed. Now, that's the most dangerous thing, because if you take away the shelter of someone's home. So what we've got to do as a society, we've got to look at, do we want to encourage these people into further crime? Or as a society, do we say, instead of where they have failed us, and I'm not talking about the organised criminals that were involved in the looting and the violence, I'm talking about the kids that got caught up in the Ferrari because they got nothing to do. Where have we gone wrong? That our kids now disrespect us this much, that where have we, as a generation, we've taken everything, what have we now got to invest back? And I think instead of the revenge, now what we've got to look at is how do we heal our society? Get rid of the hatred. Yes, what's happened is totally wrong. If I was a shopkeeper and had my windows put through, my place looted and burnt, I'd be very angry. But I'm thinking to myself, I don't want that to happen again. So rather than demonise these people and make the gang their family, let's bring them back into our society and make society their family. Start saying to them, look, this is what you've done. I would take those people and say, look, this is what you've done. This is the person you did it to. He's the same guy on that corner shop who, when your mum didn't have enough money last week, he allowed her a loaf of bread and a bottle of milk and some eggs on tick until she got her money. Humanise the people, and because it's very easy to attack a shop because it hasn't got a personality. It's an empty shop. It's very easy for organised gangs to attack anyone because they don't care about it. But when the young kids meet them and you say, this is what you did to my wife, this is what you did to my child. When you was looting my shop, my child was watching that on telly. No, my child couldn't sleep that night. When you bring it to a personal level, people feel ashamed. this is this man, no different to your mum and dad, that is who you robbed. That's why we need to get them off the streets, into training, into a diamond project where they're trained and where they're working with the community, for the community, and self-respect for their self. That's what's needed to be done.